Hello, and welcome to the 15th meeting of the Top Shelf Society. Today we are going to be discussing the book The Maidens by Alex Michaelidades. Woot woot! Before we do, I want to go ahead and start by announcing something very exciting about next month's live show, which is the fact that the book we are reading, The Chosen and the Beautiful, the author is going to be joining us, just like how Angeline Bully was able to join us. So I know we're all really excited about that. And we can thank Sara for being able to arrange that for us. Like, how crazy is that? Thank you, Sara.
No problem.
I'm pretty sure Sara has been like emailing people's agents. Like, she's been working so hard behind the scenes.
It's all Olivia. So
the book we're reading for next month is, like I said, The Chosen and the Beautiful, and we'll be meeting to discuss it on Friday, October the 1st. And basically, that book is a Gatsby retelling, but enough about that. Let's discuss the book of the day, which is The Maidens. And brief synopsis, this is kind of like a dark academia mystery thriller book that's about a young woman who returns to her old university after a murder and then discovers some dark secrets in the English department. Now we'll traditionally introduce ourselves and our channels. So my name is Kristin. My channel is Perks of a Bookflower. And right now I'm reading a lot of contemporary and I guess women's literature is what it's called right now. So that's what I'm reading at the moment.
And doing videos about reading by your Enneagram.
Yeah,
that's been really fun. I've been researching personality types.
That's cool.
You've done a good job. You only talked to Enneagram 1, but you've done a good job.
Thanks.
My name is Angela. My channel that I'm kind of in and out of, usually out right now, is Angela Rose Reads, and I read anything, everything.
My name's Stephanie. My channel is Stephanie's Bookverse, and I read mainly fantasy, but I get other stuff thrown in there as well.
And I'm Laura. I have a channel called Laura Reads Pages. I have been on a sort of month-and-a-half long hiatus, but I'm starting back up again in September, and I read everything as well.
I'm Sara, and this is my cat, Olivia. And so we like to do a lot of reading. We like to talk about books and recommend them. And currently we are just trying to devour as many books as we can, and also read some cat books because, yes.
Olivia has great taste in books.
Oh.
And hello to John. Thank you for joining us, John. We love you. He's always pops in. All right. Well, I guess we can let our book discussion begin. We always, for some reason, start off with discussing if this book was a food, what type of food would it be? Any suggestions?
Red wine, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, because it's like, that's really classy. Very like English department vibes.
Wasn't there like a virtually rare piece of lamb that was consumed in this? A bloody piece of lamb from that dinner party.
Yeah, that's right. That's gross.
Yes, that happened.
I was thinking like a Greek salad, but actually that's even worse.
Thanks.
Hi, Bridget. Thanks for joining us. It's so good that you're here. And hello, Becca. Thanks for popping in. You guys that are just joining us, please in the comments let us know your thoughts on the book. As we're discussing, anytime you type in a comment, we'll be sure to put on the screen so we can chat about it too, and we really love for you to have your voice heard in our show. Okay, so I think we all decided on like a bloody steak. Oh,
Oh,
Sarah,
vegan
poor
grandpa.
Sarah. That's like the worst thing.
There's vegan steaks with ketchup.
Okay. All right. Then let's go ahead and do our predictions. Do you predict that any of us will think this is a top shelf read or no?
I predict Stephanie will think it's a top shelf read.
Really?
That's
I
my
have no idea. I have heard so many people have reviews all across the board. Some people hate it. Some people are like, I loved it. And I'm like, this is a very polarizing book, apparently.
Yeah.
Top shelfers, if you're watching, that are watching, let us know if you think one of us will think this is top shelf. I'm going to say right now, I think that this is going to be one of those that none of us says is top shelf.
That's what I was going to say to Kristin. I think there'll be people who liked it, but I don't think there'll be anyone who loved it.
Yeah.
That's my prediction too.
But I guess it's yet to be seen. All right. So before we...
John.
You got a guess in there.
Okay.
He thinks it's just going to be me. Wow.
But see, that doesn't make sense to me because I feel like you mainly like fantasy. Like, this doesn't really seem like a Stephanie book.
I actually read a decent amount of thrillers in this time of year. I just don't any other time of year.
Okay. And Bridget says that it's not going to be top shelf for any of us.
Okay. I guess that would.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does have a very good poker face. Song is just going in my head now.
Oh, that's fun.
So, speaking of that, Stephanie usually reads thrillers. Before we get into like spoilery discussions of the book, I kind of just want to talk thrillers first. So, like, do you guys read thrillers often? Is this the first one that you've like read in a while? Tell me.
I love thrillers.
Yeah.
I love thriller books. I love thriller dances. I love thriller like documentaries and like true crime, everything. So it's yeah.
I had to, sorry.
Both really love it. Like we do.
No, I've read a decent amount, but I do feel like they clump in this time of year. So it'll be like a September, October, November time. It seems like that I read these books. So yeah.
I like
mysteries more than thrillers, to be honest. Like, yeah, I it is this time of year, I feel like, for a lot of people too. It's perfect for this time, but the problem is like I never want to buy them because with a thriller or a mystery, you figure it out and then I have no inclination to ever reread it. So like I feel like I wasted the money buying it. So yeah, checking them out from the library and stuff is a good time for this time of year.
Yeah. I like a good thriller, but I feel like I'm so easily disappointed by thrillers too. Like they just have to be very special for me to really like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually want them to be paranormal and they never are.
I know. I'm always hoping it'll go over that edge and they just don't. You're like, okay, I mean,
Proper Mexican Gothic.
Yeah, like Mexican Gothic.
Actually, that would, yeah.
Well, then hopefully
what
sorry.
do you guys think?
I was just saying, hopefully our October book, right? That one.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a thriller, but it does have like paranormal, I think.
It does have paranormal, like magical elements. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like light. It's not like high fantasy. It's a lighter fantasy, like witches.
Mm-hmm. Laura, do you read a lot of thrillers?
I don't read a lot of thrillers, but I don't watch a lot of pure thrillers, but I watch a lot of mystery thrillers on TV and movie. But I don't read a lot. I don't know why. It's just like something that I associate with TV for whatever reason.
Yeah. All right. Have you read Alex Michaelidades' first book, The Silent Patient? anyone? Okay.
I own it.
Oh, I didn't know.
So the silent patient, this isn't spoilers for this book because I know we're not spoilers yet, but do you know her other psychologist friend Theo that comes up in this?
It mentions
it's
that
about
patient
him
in the book.
Yeah, it's about him and the silent patient, that woman that was an artist and now doesn't talk anymore. So it's not like he weaved those two together, which was neat to get those little Easter eggs. I was like, oh, hey.
I thought that was cool. I've never even read that book, and I picked up on it just because I know that he wrote that book. So I was like, ooh, I bet that's it right there.
I inhaled the silent patient.
You inhaled it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you read it in one sitting too?
Well,
or like close.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Same.
I listened to the audiobook and it was really like, it had way more depth than I thought it would. And I knew what would happen. I just didn't know it would be that deep. But my God, it was so, it's cool.
I think are we all like...
Sorry, I was just going to say, which one came first, the Maidens or the Silent Patient?
Silent Patient.
Or like, which one was published first? Silent Patient?
Silent Patient. Yeah.
Just curious.
Really blew up on Goodreads. It like got really popular and it won like the
Choice Award. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess. Sorry. Okay. Well, now that we've discussed that and we talked about kind of the influences that it had on this book, later we'll discuss like which we think is better for those who've read both of them. But for now, I guess I want to open the floor before we go into any like specific questions. Like, are there any things that you really want to discuss? Things that shocked you, moments you liked or didn't like?
Are we getting into spoilers yet or no?
We can.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't have any specific
I guess I was just I guess I just was curious about what you think of a lot of thrillers sort of incorporate like psychology, and I guess what do you think of that perspective of I think increasingly like in TV, instead of having detectives analyzing the crimes, we have like psychologists, or we have psychologists working for the police or whatever. I feel like it's kind of a trend that's coming up. I'm thinking of the like Blue Monday series by Nikki French, I think. But they're all told from the perspective of a psychologist, and I'm just wondering if you guys like that, or if you do you think it brings something extra, or
I like it. I really think it's interesting. I mean, I don't want all of them told from that perspective, but I do think that it is interesting and it's fun as long as it's done well, just like any other perspective, I feel like.
And I feel like good detectives kind of understand like human psychology a lot anyways. So I think it makes sense to have like a psychologist be involved in this. I like reading about the aspects of like life that they understand on a deeper level. And I like the perspective. And I don't really know exactly what separates a thriller from a psychological thriller, other than like the fact that it has a lot to do with like the brain. Like, does anyone have a better way to describe it?
I don't know.
I know.
Great question.
I guess like, I guess it's more like, instead of like, I guess in my mind, it messes more with your head. Like it's that sense of fear and suspense, as opposed to like being in physical danger. Like you're just, it's more of like the creepy, that's was my interpretation. It's more of the just like sense of insecurity and suspense, as opposed to like I'm going to be ripped to shreds or whatever. Yeah. No, I just brought up the thing about the psychologist because I think you're right, and I think that detectives often do the same thing, and I just feel like when it's when it's coming from the perspective of a psychologist, there's like that much more research that has to go in to talking about the crime, where like if you're writing from the perspective of a police officer, you can sort of I don't know, like you don't need to make reference to like the science, the specific phenomena in the science, and so anyway, I feel like it's actually a bigger risk telling it from the perspective of the psychologist, because sometimes I read, not this one, but other ones I've read from the perspective of a psychologist, and just parts where I stop and put the book down and Google the reference, because I think that doesn't seem quite right. Just like, anyway.
I know. And I wonder
I
how
think
much
sometimes
research. Sorry.
I know something about
No, go ahead.
Because I was researching the author, and like he was this was like a little thing about the silent patient, and that also deals with like the psychology of the characters and those sorts of aspects of the book. And I was just thinking, like, because I had done like a rotation in psychiatry for like a few like months, and I was like thinking, he's actually pretty like good at this. And like apparently his sister is a psychologist, or is in like, she works in psychology. So I feel like he had like someone to consult with regarding that sort of aspect, which I think is smart to do in this type of book. So I don't know how much of an influence he had, but he consulted with her.
Based on my limited knowledge of psychology, this felt more accurate, and I think some of them can sort of almost like cross the line and pick up on like the really sensationalized not parts of the science of psychology, but like focusing too much on almost like crossing the line from psychology to like mysticism, like being able to know someone's psychology so well that you can predict what they're going to do, and like almost too much. But I felt like this was more realistic, and I was really interested in the group psychology, her reflection on group counseling, because I never learned about that before, and like this idea of treating the group. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, me too, Laura. That was super interesting. I didn't even know that group like I mean, I knew that group therapy was a thing, but I didn't realize that you could actually be a group therapist. Like that was a specialization. It's cool. Okay, well, first question. We have lots of different characters in this story. We have Mariana. She's our main character. And so her niece Zoe calls her in a panic when her friend goes missing, who we later find out is murdered. Mariana suspects that the Greek tragedy professor Fosca is behind the murders. Did you think from the beginning that Fosca had something to do with it, or did you believe he was innocent?
I guessed from the beginning. I mean, obviously I didn't guess the whole aspect. I feel like there was more to it than I guessed, but I guess, yeah.
I was like
you guessed accurately who did it without giving away who did it.
No, we can talk spoilers.
Yeah,
now. Let's do spoilers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I did not guess. Actually, for part of the way, because obviously, what's his name?
Fosca.
Professor Fosca. Everything from the beginning, he was like the prime suspect, and everything seemed to line up to suggest that it was him. And normally in a murder mystery, it would mean that it is not him. But at the back of my brain, I was like, well, maybe it's just a straightforward, like maybe the book isn't about solving the mystery, and maybe it's like about the psychology of Fosca or something. And so I like thought it could have been him, even though obviously normally when everything points to one person, it means it's someone else. But yeah, I didn't predict who it was at all.
Hi,
Yes.
Mary Jo. She said that she also guessed from the beginning. Good job, Mary Jo. I didn't.
Everyone's smarter than me.
No, I feel like it's a lot of fun to have not guessed it, you know? I think that makes it really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, Mary Jo also says, I didn't guess about the affair. Oh my gosh, that was the biggest shock. Was anyone not shocked by that? The affair?
Actually, I mean, I was, but not as much as I thought I'd be, because she seemed very obsessed with him. So I was like, she's unhealthily obsessed with him. But I didn't think it was quite to that extent, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know what? Like, actually, I said I didn't guess who did it, but I did sort of think, like, I wasn't sure, but it crossed my mind that their relationship might have been, I don't know. I just thought Sebastian seemed too perfect. I thought there might be something creepy going on there too.
See, I'm not cynical enough. I honestly was just like, oh, he seems great.
He seems great. He's a creep. Oh my god.
I know
Well,
now.
as she was reading
Even just how he has the maidens, that's red flags everywhere. That should not be allowed.
We were talking
That's
about
Fosca.
Sebastian.
No, Sebastian.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like,
what are you guys talking about?
that's why I'm like, you're talking about him being. I was like, wait, what?
No.
Did you read this book?
Sorry about that.
No, I thought Sebastian was like the dream guy, like, but he wasn't. Not at
But
all.
okay, a little bit of me, like, do you think that happens? Like, can you live with someone for, what did she live with him for, like 15 years or something?
Yeah.
And like, love them and trust them that much, and I know a little bit could have been that she was remembering him, so she was probably only remembering the good things, and then at the end it says, like, before Zoe said it, I knew already what, like, Mariana thought she knew what Zoe was going to say. But, like, does that happen? Do you think, like, you can live with someone for 15 years and have completely just, like, completely have a wrong idea of their personality?
I have a theory that there can be perhaps a protective mechanism where someone who lives with someone for that long does not want to accept that their partner could be who they like fear they are. So sociopath. And, you know, that there can be sort of a disconnect in that sort of sense. Because if you have one reality in which your partner is that perfect person for you, but you see some flags and you just don't want to believe them, I don't know. It depends, I think, on that person's past and, you know, how they were treated in past relationships. And she did have a very challenging, at least family relationship. So perhaps she wanted it. She wanted to have a world in which he wasn't that person. I don't know.
And also, she didn't have anyone else. Like, she didn't have any other friends in the country. She was sort of estranged from her family. It was like him and Zoe. So I can, like, I guess she relied on him. Yeah.
And her therapist had said, or her mentor had said that she would not accept how harmful her own father was. And she had to push her to see how bad he was. And then she kind of like freaked out and ran away. So like maybe, like you said, that is just a mechanism that she does to try to see the better in the people and not see how unhealthy they are.
Yeah, kind of like Mary Jo said, where you're wearing rose-colored glasses, where you're like, oh, well, like he's good in this way and he loves me and he cares about me. But I mean, even her dad didn't like him, and her dad is not a very nice guy. So I don't know. That was kind of...
I wonder also, during the parts that are from the perspective of that later we find out Sebastian, but that are from the perspective of the murderer. He talks about like having these two sides to him and almost like being able to like be one or the other versions of themselves. So he might have just also been very, very good at hiding that other side of him.
Well, I feel like most serial killers are, they say. So.
And
Yeah.
that brings up like the perfect, I just have to throw this in, the red herring of Fred, because like we were so supposed to think that he was the one doing it, right? Because there was that whole scene where she goes into his apartment and there are papers all over the place. Like that, he was so obviously supposed to be seen as the person writing the journal entries, right? And then for that not to happen, for me, it just made the shock even bigger. And I know Mary Jo said the same thing, that Fred threw her off because she thought he was involved from his introduction to the story. And so did I.
I have a bone to pick. That was something that really frustrated me and seemed... It didn't seem very masterful to me, written that way, because there were like 4 red herrings. And like Henry, her patient, who she did not handle well at all. And also Fred, and then also Fosca, and then like, and all of them grew up on farms coincidentally somehow. And like all of them had this potential same background, and they also didn't have anything to do with the plot. So to me, I just wish that would have been a little more well written,
woven in.
Yeah, like they need a purpose. Like it just seemed like it was like, hey, let's get all of these men and they all want her and force themselves on her and kiss her without her consent, and and her psychologist friend also wants her too, like everyone. And they like, so it makes them all a suspect. They all have a similar background, they all are suspicious, but it didn't feel real. Like it felt like they were just thrown in there for that reason. That drove me crazy.
Especially Henry.
Like
especially Henry, right?
Yeah, like she just ran into Fred at a cafe. Like he didn't really have anything. Well, and Henry didn't have anything to do with anything either. Yeah.
Well, she met him on the train.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, did she meet him on the train? Yeah.
That was so strange. I was like,
I mean, I thought that wasn't as weird. I feel like people do hit on you. They'll come talk to you, hit on you. But then, like, once you shut them down, usually they move on. They're not like, I have a premonition that I'm going to ask you to marry me and you'll say yes. I'm like, okay, now it's weird.
It was so creepy. Like, not from like the initial, like, well, maybe it was within that initial interaction. I read this book a little bit ago, so I can't remember like it as well as I would like to remember it. But I just remember being like, Fred is much. It's a little much.
Yeah. But do you think it almost hinted at the end like she could end up with Fred, like she might go for him? Yeah. And do you think Fred would be right for her? Because I sort of think like, after what happened with Sebastian, like I think that she's the sort of person that if someone professes their love for her, I feel like that's not enough. Like they need to show some commitment, and they can't just meet her twice and
he took a knife for her. That's
she deserves someone
pretty intense.
I know, that's true. I mean, that was nice. But I just mean. Yeah, but I just mean like, to a certain extent, I think people who like declare their love and obsession for you that early, it's almost like a little bit emotionally manipulative, and I feel like Mariana is like vulnerable to that already. So I don't know. I'd be kind of worried if she went for Fred too quickly.
I think we're supposed to think that she did though, because the first time they meet, he says something like, the first time I saw you, I knew I was going to marry you, and my premonitions are always right. And like, I think his premonitions were always right in the book. So I think we're supposed to just assume that that's what happens.
I don't know. I didn't really like how it was written that all the guys were just instantly obsessed with her. I felt
I
like
didn't get it either. I
we
was
had
like,
like
what
4
even?
guys that were obsessed with her in this book, and I'm like, she's not that all that. I'm sorry, like I don't want to be rude or anything, but
And she's kind of on
she's
like a
got some
wavelength
issues.
of like try to figure out a murder. So like I was just like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I didn't like how it was written either. That part.
But
Yeah.
really?
I think it was it Sara I was talking to about it? Oh yeah, Sara, because you had read it before me. And I remember 2 guys kissed her forcibly, like without her consent. And I just messaged her. I was like, is this author okay? Like, why do they think that this is just some natural thing that is not a big deal? And like, that's it.
This happen all the time to women. We don't just go around accepting that guys forcibly kiss us without our consent.
Where should we?
I know. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, I want to address a few comments that we've not talked about. Stephanie talked about this one. You have to be wearing rose-colored glasses to convince yourself that you know them. Yeah.
Well, also the quote. Share the quote that.
Okay.
Yeah.
To quote 2012 Tumblr, when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, red flags just look like flags. Nice.
Okay, where's it?
Bridget wanted to know.
I suspected him.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did.
He's just a weird addition to the story.
I suspected everyone at one point.
No way of
Nice.
But for Henry, there was no way of connecting him to Cambridge or to the students, he was just someone in her group in London. And like, it would have been too much of an eye roll for it to be a coincidence that the murderer at her niece's college just happened to be in her London counseling group, you know? Like, I didn't think that was going to happen.
I'll throw one at you. I thought it was Mariana at the beginning.
Ooh.
I was like, whenever I put a sticky note that maybe it's her whenever she was visiting that temple, and it was talking about the maidens of is it Persephone and Demeter, I think?
Demeter, maybe.
And how they were like, one was light and one was dark. And in the letters and in the stuff, it kept referring to like, oh, I think there's a dark side of me and I'm trying to talk to the light side, but they don't know. And so I thought maybe she wasn't aware she was doing this. And she had like, you know, like that was like my first thought, because I've read books like that before where they
that would have
like,
been cool
in that way, because so it's like the maidens, like both sides of the light and the dark, you know. And so I was like, actually, I could see it maybe, who knows.
I was gonna be like so mad.
Well, speaking of Mariana, how much do you think she is responsible for what happened to Zoe? Because obviously, like, Zoe was a vulnerable child. Her parents had died. She was alone in a foreign country, and then she was like groomed and psychologically and sexually abused in Mariana's house. Like how much do you think Mariana is responsible for what happened to Zoe?
No, I don't think you can necessarily say that someone is responsible for the horrendous actions of another person necessarily, especially when she didn't really know. I feel like she didn't. Yeah. She was either in denial so strongly that she didn't know, or she actually didn't suspect. So I don't know if you could necessarily blame her at all. I think he was good. I think he was very good and was able to do it without getting caught. And that sucks, but yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of that,
I guess it depends on. Go ahead, Kristin.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, it makes me wonder, like, men like that, like, I guess, were we calling him kind of like a sociopath or a narcissist or just evil, whatever?
He was sociopathic in his letters.
Yeah.
Because he was saying, like, he lost feeling, like he didn't feel anymore. There was no empathy, that type of stuff.
So it makes me wonder if men like that target girls like Mariana in the first place, because and like girls who kind of have these like how do they sense though? How do they know that these girls will be perfectly misled by them?
Well, I think that she obviously wasn't like intentionally complicit, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
But it's
It
like,
just depends on how much you think she knew. Like, did she know absolutely nothing? Was she turning a blind eye? Was she, like, I guess, and we don't know. They don't really
provide us.
say.
Yeah. Okay. And I suspected Mariana, especially.
I was not here for the Roger Ackroyd live show, but I had issue with that. Just saying. I just don't like that when authors do it if you're in someone's head and you're in first person, I don't think you can do that type of a twist. It doesn't work. It's like, I'm not going to say other books that do it that tick me off, but
I do. The Red Rising series. Nobody knows that. That could be any of the books.
I guess these
no, there's one thing I'm talking about. You would never
there's
know
a
what
couple,
I'm
but there's
referring to.
one in particular that you're like, no, wait a second.
Well, no, I'm just the fact that a book, like you said, is written in someone's head.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like the Red Rising series is
Red
written
Rising does
in
it
people's
too.
heads. Or is it one
that's
person?
What I was thinking of too. What?
Is it one person or was it just Darrow or is it multiple?
It's just like, I guess, would that not come up in your thoughts?
In your thoughts.
Like, that's what's hard to buy. It's like, would you
yeah, like if we're in first person, you can't do that. That's cheating.
Yeah. I would agree.
Well, whatever it is, that was one of the greatest plot twists ever, and
Unreliable narrator.
Oh, yeah. I did not like it. I thought it was so horrible, and it's poor and lazy writing, I think, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, that's such a strong opinion.
There's a lot of books like that now that I think about it.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I can't be in their head. Like,
yeah,
they can't have these thoughts. Like, they wouldn't be thinking that way if they were the murderer. Like, I'm sorry.
But that's why I thought my theory of Mariana would work, because it was talking about how she doesn't know the other part of her, I guess. Like, I don't know if that's like an actual psychological thing. If it's like a
legit split personality thing, exactly. Then I could see that then.
That's why I thought it might have been her, the way they described the Maidens. But then I was like, okay, this could be literally anyone. And then every time I was like, it's this person, this person, this person. Okay. Well,
honestly, I think your idea is more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I should write that. No.
Or if they do it in third person, like from her side.
Third person would be a good idea. Yeah. Unreliable narrator is the word, I think, or the phrase that Mary Jo was talking about.
One thing on a completely different note, but one thing about Sebastian and Zoe is, I guess Sebastian did kill Mariana's father. But if it hadn't been for that, he didn't actually perpetrate any of the violence. Like, Zoe did everything. So,
well, he was to Zoe.
So, like, we can never know if he would have followed through on this plot. We can kind of suspect based on the writings that he left behind, and obviously what he did to Zoe was horrendous. But yeah, I guess we don't know like how far he would have gone along this plot.
Can I ask something? Speaking of the plot, okay, this is basically going to tell you how I feel about it, but it's okay. We got to talk about it at some point. How does this plot make any sense? I don't understand, because so the goal is to get Mariana killed, right? We're talking about spoilers. And Zoe says to Edward Fosca about him that he said he was sleeping with her friend and was going to kill her. How was he not like even removed from campus or anything. Like, that would have spoiled the entire thing right there. Like, that doesn't, if anybody was like, oh yeah, that's a suspicious thing that is being said about him, and he's weird with all of these girls, at least like
How
while
would
the
you keep on killing
investigation,
people?
yeah, like at least while the investigation is going on, like remove him from campus, and then like now it's over and Mariana can't die because the suspect is now gone. So like it is the most convoluted, weird way to try to get her killed in a way that like in a second could easily be foiled and doesn't. Am I missing something here, or is that like?
Yeah, I would think that
Can
you
I
would at
just
least
repeat
like,
what
put him on
the
sabbatical.
plot was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just, so the plot was that, just to so make sure I have it straight in my head, was that they would kill the members of the Maidens so that Fosca would be suspected, and they would kill them one at a time so that when Mariana was killed, she would seem as if she belonged to the same string of killings. And then I feel like that's just a lot of murders and a lot of trouble. Wouldn't there be an easier way of getting the focus off you? And you're right, if at any point, like, Fosca had alibis for all of these murders,
and
the police never really
though.
suspected
like,
him.
If he's a suspect, which he should have been a suspect, because like this is a grown man taking all of these young, like rich, beautiful girls and like doing drugs with them on that thing. Remember like that like ritual, like they do drugs and like he like takes them under his wing and has private sessions with them and stuff. Like, that's highly inappropriate in general for a professor to do. Like, you should already have red flags about this guy just in general. And then if somebody says that, like, he should be a suspect. So also, what's wrong with these detectives? But also like he should be a suspect. So then he would be like either in holding somewhere or at least like removed from the campus where all of these murders are happening. Like, I'm imagining if murders are happening on a campus, like there should be some type of lockdown or removing the suspicious person. Like, I don't know. I'm like, there's no other way you guys could have thought to do this. Like, this doesn't make sense.
Well, I feel like oh, sorry, go ahead, Kristin.
No, you're fine.
I was just gonna say, I feel like if there's an allegation of sexual misconduct between a teacher and a student, they investigate that. They don't just be like, I don't know, he seems like a nice guy, we'll let it fly. He just got murdered. You're like, okay.
He has an alibi, and his only alibis came from the other Maidens, though.
Yeah.
Is that not a red flag to anybody else?
Like, inappropriate relationship Maidens.
Yeah. I was like, how are they believing these alibis?
He's like sleeping with all of them.
But at the same time, like, yes, sexual assault allegations should be like immediately investigated, and yet injustice occurs all of the time. I mean, it was really frustrating and annoying, and I feel like at this point we should hopefully have come farther past this, but I know all sorts of injustices go swept under the rug because people know people say this person can never do this, and people don't believe like the testimony of other women. So as frustrating as it is, like, it does happen.
But there's a murder added on to this, though. Like, I feel like I agree at the sexual assault not being taken seriously, especially in like positions of power and control like that. But now there was a murder of one of those girls, and Zoe claimed that he said that he was sleeping with Tara and was. Whoa! Did I just pull that name out right? Was that her name? Tara? Nice, bro.
Tara.
That he was gonna kill her. So I'm like, now it's a student that was murdered on campus, and then more, and they were all his Maidens. Like, I don't know.
The other thing I find with murder mysteries that are told from a psychologist or from not the police is they have to find ways, like the police are always egregiously like not doing their job correctly or are just like missing things. And when you tell the mystery from someone who's not a detective or from a psychologist, for example, you need to sort of work in all of these ways that they're getting information and getting access to the police files, and they have to be seeing something that the police aren't seeing. So I feel like in a lot of murder mysteries where the police is not the primary investigator, the police are kind of hopeless or like conveniently missing a lot of things in order to make that work.
My big issue. Go ahead, Sarah.
No, go ahead.
Well, my big issue with that aspect of it is that what was she doing going around lying, saying that she had all these people's permission to be doing these things? She's actually like illegally participating in an investigation. She can be arrested for that. Like, that is, I couldn't stand it. It was driving me nuts. I'm like, you can't do this. This is illegal. Like, you need to stop.
Can I like change my prediction of I think I'm gonna like change it now.
I don't know. Nancy Drew, she got away with doing a lot of the same stuff. So.
True.
Why did Zoe want to murder Mariana?
To get the money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
was left from her
For
father.
Sebastian to get the money.
Because she blamed him.
Yeah, so after Sebastian died, though,
Oh.
why did she still want to kill?
She blamed
Mariana.
her for killing Sebastian. Well, killing Sebastian.
Taking him to the beach where he
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sebastian, Little Mermaid.
For it.
Okay, let's address some more comments because y'all are on it tonight. You're awesome. Why did Mariana think it was that guy when she didn't know him? Which guy?
The postcards. That was it. Just the postcards. That was her one piece of evidence.
Oh, yeah.
That there were these postcards.
And because Zoe
Greek.
said, and
Yeah.
Zoe said that he had told Tara that he would kill her as well.
Yeah.
Or Tara told Zoe that
Yeah.
Fosca had told her that he would kill her.
So Zoe was framing Fosca, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was a pretty creepy guy. I mean, sleeping with all those students and having that group, and the people being killed were all from his private group, Maidens group.
So if you, this is kind of random, but I just have to say, if you really liked this idea of the Maidens, but you felt disappointed by it, read Bunny by Mona Awad. If you can handle really weird things, okay? If you can handle really strange things, because it, like, the idea of like a group of university girls kind of in like a cult-like experience, and you're not sure if there is something mystical going on, like with this whole ritual he's talking about, or if it's just weird. This didn't give us anything about the Maidens at all.
I wanted that so bad.
Me too. I thought
Read
it was
Bunny.
the Maidens.
I just wanted like the Greek mythology. I wanted like to know about the Maidens. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to explore. I wanted dark academia. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to be in the dark academia.
I wanted maybe a smart mystery like that explores like, I don't know, just like mythology, and you have to puzzle solve and like do, and that was not this book.
No.
I'm sorry.
Has
Yeah.
anyone read the Atlas 6?
I wanted that. I wanted
No.
to puzzle solve and like, but
Wait, what is
But
the
I
Atlas
felt like
6?
it was sort of sold as that.
as what?
And it was kind of at the
It was.
beginning when she talks about Demeter.
Like
Yeah.
it was sold as like a Greek
I mean, look at the cover.
No, as what you described as
Like
like a
the
puzzle that you had to
Maidens.
figure out, and that involved Greek mythology. From when they talked about at the beginning the drowning death of Sebastian and how that kept coming up, and the postcards, and it felt like it should have tied together, and that's what I thought it was going to be too.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Bunny's not Greek mythology, but it does have the cult girl university aspect, so I highly recommend. I wanted to, can we ask, that's a good point, because we're talking about this subject, Bridget's question. Did you think the ritual actually happened? I never thought about that. So it wasn't
Because Zoe
real?
could have just made it up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
As a way
I
to
never
frame thoughts,
considered
yeah.
that.
Right.
Why was it made up?
I actually think it might have been real. Maybe not exactly the way she described it, because she wanted to make him sound more sleazy and sketch. But I wouldn't be surprised if he took the girls out and was doing drugs with them.
Didn't he say it was like a
and
drug or
pushing
something?
them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like if this was supposed to be a dark academia book, that ritual should have been in here and a lot of other stuff. But
Mhm.
it wasn't. Like, this is a thriller. It is not really dark academia. It tried, but it failed. So I don't know. If you want a real dark academia
Did it
vibes book,
try though?
well, it did try.
It wasn't even like someone in the university, in the Maidens. It was like just someone completely out of it.
I feel like it was just a big tease.
I
It teased me, like it teased Mariana. We all wanted it to be something it wasn't.
know.
And that's why I feel the way I do about it. So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a clean sweep.
Oh.
Oh, so this one that Mary Jo said about it not being illegal for a college professor to sleep with a college student. Where I'm from, if you do, you get fired. So I don't know if it's illegal or just against the rules of the university.
I mean, he does get fired at the end of the book.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if it's illegal, but you're not supposed to. Like, it's in the
An
code
abuse
of
of
the
power.
university that you don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at
So it
my
would be a red flag.
at my
Right, go ahead.
college, Mary Jo, it was like that too. Like, people did do that some, but after they left that person's class. So,
yeah.
Was it allowed, or did they just do it though?
They
Like,
just
is
did
this
it.
a Ross Geller
Yeah.
type thing, or
they just did it.
yeah?
It-
I mean, people are gonna do it, but
Yeah.
no.
I had a student marry one of our professors, like that she was in his class.
Not while she was in his class.
Yeah. Like,
While she was in his class, she married.
How is that allowed?
Oh no, not while. Like,
Oh, okay.
she had been.
Ooh, when I was in high school, one
But
of the
did she
girls
meet him
married
through
one of
the
the
class,
teachers.
or was it like
Yeah, she met
Yeah.
him in the class.
it wasn't like she was already his fiance and then happened to take his class?
No.
No,
I met that.
no.
What happens actually? in
Oh
high
yeah, one of
school?
the girls I went to high school with, after she graduated, she married one of the teachers, and they were having a thing while she was in high school, and he got divorced, and yeah,
That's illegal.
and they got married.
Okay.
That's
That is
illegal.
very illegal.
Oh my
But then they got
God.
married afterwards,
Is he-
and I don't know if he
What
still
was the
worked- I
age
think he
difference?
moved. What? The age difference?
What was the age difference?
I think
Like, was
he-
it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's wrong either way. I'm just curious.
probably like 10 or 12 years. So I mean, he was a younger one. He was probably in his late 20s. But
Yeah, the same thing happened. Someone married Joe knew too. Oof. Guys,
Kristin.
teacher ethics. Oh
some
my God.
drama.
Ah.
I know you can't keep teaching here if that were to happen, you would lose your teaching license.
I don't think they could prove he did while he was still a teacher.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I also thought what Bridget thought at one point, that Sebastian faked his death somehow. Yeah, I thought that maybe
Ooh,
too.
that would have been cool.
I
If all of a
thought
sudden he was the one doing it and he wasn't actually dead.
Yeah.
I would have
Totally.
been on board with that.
We just basically have come up with a lot of other things we wish
I know.
could happen.
I mean, the twist that happened I was okay with, except for the way she went about it. I was like, that wasn't your brightest. That shouldn't have worked.
You didn't like her long monologue about every little detail that happened
not
instead
a
of just
fan.
killing her?
Right? I'm not a fan of the bad guy doing the monologue until someone can come and rescue him or something.
Exactly.
Like, no, just kill him. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, not that I want her
Well,
to-
all the other victims, she killed them from behind by cutting their throat. And Mariana, she didn't. But maybe at some level, she didn't want to kill Mariana. I don't know. But
That's what I was
she
thinking too.
conveniently
Maybe
did it
she didn't want
differently.
Yeah.
I just think
Ooh,
nobody
yeah.
knew how to do their job. The teacher didn't know how to be a teacher. The detectives didn't know how to detective. Mariana doesn't know how to be a group therapist. I mean, I felt like nobody did their job
just
right.
Her therapist was the only person that was good.
There you go.
And the Theo guy.
You need to read about
What was that his
him.
name?
He's got his whole own book.
Theo.
I did like
Now I
it.
want to read the other book.
Theo.
Yeah,
I so hope that you guys share what you think of the other book. Like, I would almost like want to do a show just to talk about your guys' thoughts.
Why don't we buddy read it?
Like, that would be really, because we were talking about if we like it better or worse. Like, the people who read the book, which one do you like better?
Which one did? Oh, The Silent Patient.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kristin?
I feel like I like them equally. I don't know. I felt like The Silent Patient was overhyped. I didn't really feel like it was very much a thriller. So,
yeah, I'm very curious what everybody else thinks about The Silent Patient now after reading this one.
Super hyped. Yeah, I could see that being disappointing a lot because it's so hyped up. So like your expectations are like so high.
But that's what I thought, and I like just read it, and I was like, okay. Like I didn't give it like
I like that.
I think I gave it like 3.5 or 3.75 or something. But like I was like, okay, that's a book.
See, at this point when I read a thriller, I expect like Gone Girl level of like thriller.
Gone Girl.
Oh my god.
Like Gone Girl.
I will say, like, regardless of what you thought about like the plot of The Silent Patient, am I the only one that, like, not to be rude, but am I the only one that felt like this wasn't even the same writer? Like, the books even were written so differently. It was so strange reading The Silent Patient and then like reading The Maidens, and I'm like, how did the same person write these two books? It felt quite different to me, but I did read it years ago. So the people who read it more recently, did you feel like they were pretty similar or no?
Yes and no.
I felt like I could see similarities in the writing style. And also, I don't understand how Alex Michaelidades writes women. Like, I feel like he doesn't understand them very well. And I think that, like, it's so funny that the woman in The Silent Patient, like, she doesn't talk. And like, the way that she's, like, portrayed, I feel like is, like, a metaphor for just the fact that he does not understand how women speak and behave. And so, I don't know.
Well, you don't have to if they're quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt similarly. I think like Angela, I think I talked to you about how it just didn't feel like he wrote from like a women's perspective, and but then who am I to say what a woman's perspective should be? But it still just kind of felt a little like just like certain things that would happen like throughout the book, I think.
Yeah. It's been years since I read it, so I just remember I enjoyed it, and I liked Theo, and I liked what unfolded. I thought it was interesting, and but yeah, that's interesting to hear that it was pretty similar, huh? Wow. Now I feel like I need to reread it. Darn.
I feel like I need to read it and see now because I do own it. Someone bought it for me as a gift off my wish list.
I
know.
It's a very quick read. I find, and I'm a slow reader, so
I get through thrillers really quickly. Actually, they're one of my fastest reads out of everything. Yeah.
Well, and maybe like it's just me, but like, how do I explain how my brain processes this? You know, when you have a book and you don't know what it is, like essentially, like I almost look at things in the world as like you have a map and it's just a drawing. And then when you experience it yourself, you can like color it in and fill it in with details. Whereas before you just kind of had a vague idea. It's like that with books. Like you hear it and you have all these ideas of what might be in it. But sometimes, like, regardless, it's just nice to just read it so that you know yourself what it is. So like, for it to be such a quick read and a thriller, and it's like pretty quick, like I might even just reread it, because like it's nice to like actually know yourself. Like if you hated it, you know you hated it. If you enjoyed it, you're like, okay, now I know how it was about that. But that's just
Yeah,
me.
I
Not everybody
actually
cares
thought
about
about
that.
yeah. I actually thought about rereading this knowing because unlike Stephanie, I didn't think of who had done
Zoe.
it throughout the book. So I almost wanted after I finished it to reread it just to see if there were those little sprinkling hints that I missed along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, I actually really like to, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do really like to reread thrillers. I do. I like to see if I can see it from the perspective of like whoever did it, and see if I can really like understand like why things happen. And even just from like a like writing standpoint or like a investigative standpoint, what are things to look for?
I guess
Well,
it would
yeah,
depend on
just
the
because
film.
not
Yeah.
like it,
But
I
it's not
would
popular
read it
thing.
again.
Read this, so
What's that?
is it, but
Sorry, I didn't hear your last sentence.
it's not like a popular thing. Like most people who read thrillers,
Oh,
they
yeah.
like
No.
discover and like read it and then just kind of be like, okay, I got it.
No, like it's
But
like the
I
Sixth
totally
Sense,
get what you
you
mean,
know?
though. Because like if I were to reread this again, I would reread it like completely analyzing Zoe's
Yeah.
psychology completely differently. And that's why I would want to reread it, is like
Yeah.
I would understand her differently knowing what I know now.
And just like we rewatch movies the same way, like The Sixth Sense, like no spoilers, but once you get to the ending, then you're gonna want to rewatch it because you're like, wait, oh, I, you know, like, and that's how thrillers are too. They're also like how it's a story. Yeah, I can totally see
With
that.
a different lens, different perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
really
The Sixth
curious.
Sense, I did not see that coming. That ending.
Don't say it.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, totally.
I'm really curious if anyone has something good to say about the book, something they enjoyed.
You know what? Overall, I actually liked the book. Like, it wasn't what I expected it to be. It wasn't a cool, like, mystery woven into, like, Greek mythology, as in, it wasn't that. But I liked her writing, and I liked her characters. I just thought the plot was a little bit unbelievable, and that's where it lost me. But it isn't the sort of dislike where I would never read anything that he wrote, again. I really liked the writing and the characters, and it wasn't unpleasurable to read. I actually overall liked the book. So yeah, that's not very specific, but yeah.
No, I guess I have a similar feel where I was still fun to like, it was so quick and easy that it still was like pretty enjoyable to just kind of read along and like see where things went and what happened. So I still think that it wasn't a book that I'm like, this was a waste of my time at all. Like, it was fun. It was fine. And if someone asked for a thriller, I wouldn't necessarily like, don't read this one. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
There's actually quite like, how do I explain this? But like reading it was I actually liked the experience of reading it. There were a couple of things though, like I guess I liked a lot of elements of the book, just not how I think they could have been developed a lot more and enriched. So I think that there were just a lot of parts that felt rushed or underdeveloped, or could have had like more time to like simmer, or like more areas to explore. Like it just had so many elements that I do like. But it just didn't seem like overall like the story that I wanted it to be, I guess. But yeah, so many different parts of it. Like I do love thrillers that have a psychological aspect to it. Love that they were at Cambridge. I love the idea of the Maidens. I love like I love the idea of the book quite a bit. And so like sitting with it was still nice to me. So it's really hard for me to think of a rating for this book. Like it's very difficult. And I don't know. Okay. Do you think that this book might translate better on film? Because I think it might.
Well, I think
I
I was gonna say
too.
something. That's what I was gonna say. Like I was gonna actually say something that before you brought that up. My problem with the book, why I like could hardly enjoy it, was that I felt like the writing lacked any amount of depth, at least from me, like in my perspective. Like it would just be like, Mariana saw the knife, she turned, Zoe did this, Zoe did that, or dialogue. Like there wasn't much of like what their feelings are about this, other than like her flashbacks of Sebastian, you know, like, and I wanted to know like what they're thinking or what they're feeling about these things a lot more. But on film, you don't have to worry about that because there's usually not a narrator. So I would agree with you that I think that this would translate better to film, because instead of it almost being like typed out actions and dialogue, you get to watch it and you would naturally feel more for these people and you'd feel the suspense and stuff more. So like I would definitely agree too that it would probably do better, almost like it was like as if it was a screenplay or something. But I think they need to add more to it besides that anyway.
Get rid of the Henry part and add up more to the other parts.
Add more to the Maidens, get rid of Henry, deal with Fred being weird. Like I don't know. But
movies and TV series normally do that, you know, like they normally sort of focus in the plot a little bit more and cut some of those like side things. But I also think all of the settings were really, really interesting and would translate into film. Like, for example, the house that she grew up with outside of Athens, and it was just like this big, airy, empty house. I think that would be so sort of atmospheric over film. And then obviously the colleges at Cambridge would be just like gorgeous, and the punts and like Fosker's study. I think those would be, if we got to see those things, it would just make everything a little bit more atmospheric.
The reason why I asked that question is because he is a film writer.
Is he?
Yeah, he writes films.
That makes so much sense because his writing is so sparse. It's like script writing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's good to be validated by an English teacher.
Who did suggest the Maidens? I'm curious.
I was going to say that was me. I put it as my
I was like, I don't know. It was just in the spreadsheet. So.
Yeah, we just created a spreadsheet and people just added things
like
in.
Anonymous, I think.
Yeah,
we just kind of threw names in there.
I just dropped something. Sorry. I had already bought it though, which was neat because like I normally, like I said, don't buy thrillers, but he got me with The Silent Patient. And so I was just like, you know what? This cover, if nothing else, is breathtaking. And now I sold it to a used bookstore and don't even have it anymore. but I had already had it. So I was excited to read it with everybody. So that was a cool coincidence.
Yeah, it sounded real good.
It just didn't live up to it.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm also going to throw in another really good, if you like Shakespeare. I know it's not Greek mythology, but if you like Shakespeare and Dark Academia, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. That was...
Yeah, I was going to ask what people's favorite Dark Academia books are.
Let's talk about this, please. Let's have some good Dark Academia book recommendations.
Yes.
Get out. Get it out. Start.
Let's get our Goodreads going.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's literally not even a discussion about Dark Academia unless you mention The Secret History. And I love that book.
I've never read it either.
I think I would love it, honestly, but I just haven't read it yet.
Yeah. It's much better.
Aren't they so pretentious though? I remember picking it up when I was a teenager and I was like, these people are a-holes. Like,
I don't know.
was I just
they're way
brat?
more complex than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when you first meet them, they seem really pretentious, but they're really nuanced.
I was also a teenager, so that was probably just me, and I just grabbed it off the shelf. So it wasn't, don't take that as a reflection of anything. I had no idea.
Yeah, and Donna Tartt's writing is just so nice. It's so like literary and descriptive, and it fits like the tone of dark academia books so well.
So I really dislike the Goldfinch. Will I still like Looking for History?
Yeah, I didn't really like the Goldfinch either.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good.
yeah. So that's my recommendation.
Yay, I love that.
I have 3.
Angela's thrown out a few.
Yeah, I have If We Were Villains is like Shakespeare a lot, and actors. And okay, well, I'm gonna spoil the video because who cares? I read Catherine House and Bunny because I wanted to try some weird books because they're quite strange. They're like my new favorite books. I loved them so much. So
you
like
liked Catherine House?
I loved Catherine House. Like I know. I totally get it if you didn't love it because it's very strange and it kind of feels like a dream. It's so like I remember taking a nap while I was reading the book and I dreamed like the same thing that was happening in the book and I woke up and I was like, wait, was I sleeping or was I reading? Like it's strange. They're both very strange. But
did you like the ending of Catherine House?
Yeah. I love ambiguous endings. I like that. I like ambiguous endings because you're like you get to decide what you think happened. And so Catherine House is like very weird and atmospheric and like paranormal kind of and like strange. And then Bunny is a lot more of like another weird but like cult and like college girl group thing. But I loved them. those are my favorites.
Love it.
What about Stephanie? Let's just like go in order.
Yeah.
What Sarah?
I love weird, atmospheric, paranormal. I'm in.
You would like Catherine
House.
House.
What you think then? You gotta tell me what you think.
Sorry.
Honestly, I think Ninth House might be my favorite.
Wait. Yes.
I love that book so much. I can't wait for the second book to come out. Like I'm dying. It is so good.
I want to read it. Like, what is it in like 1 or 2 sentences for my simple
Yale?
Paranormal dark academia Yale with a very unique main character, not pretentious, but there's actual paranormal aspects to it. Like it's not. It's like from the beginning, and it has real aspects. Yeah. It's like
a mystery paranormal. I don't know, Sarah. This might be right up your alley.
I think you should try it.
Ninth House?
Yeah.
Ninth House.
I read it a couple times actually by now because I keep waiting for the second one, and so now I've read it a few times. I'm like, I want to know what happened, and yeah, that's a really good one too, definitely.
Is there like a witchy dark academia?
It's not witchy.
I don't think that one is.
What makes something
I don't want to spoil
dark academia?
Sarah, I don't want to spoil anything.
Like, does it have to?
All the witchy things right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if I should say this because it's kind of a spoiler. I'll message you, Sarah.
Okay, don't spoil it for me. Not with this one.
No, it's not a spoil. It's like because you asked if there's witchy things.
If there's even like a hint of it.
Okay, a hint of it. Read Bunny.
Okay.
A hint of it. Just a hint.
I have to leave in 5 minutes or so. Okay. So just a heads up.
Why don't we go ahead and jump into was this a top shelf read?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, does anybody else have any dark academia? Anybody?
Sarah?
I don't right now off the top of my head, but if I think of it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I will say there's a middle grade I've heard a lot of good things about. I have it on my TBR cart. It's like,
Stephanie, do you want to buddy read The Secret History sometime?
yes.
Oh, I do.
Does anybody want to buddy read this?
It's like The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane. I think it's Dark Academia middle grade.
Ooh,
Interesting. Dark Academia
awesome.
middle grade.
I love
Yeah.
the cover of that book.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty.
What is
Yeah.
it? The Mystery of what? Sorry?
Black Hollow Lane.
Black Hollow Lane. Got it.
It's like American goes to English boarding school, mysterious things happen,
Yeah.
etc. Okay, well, I guess it's time to decide if this was a top shelf read or not. I'm so in suspense right now. I'll go ahead and go first. This was not a top shelf read for me. I think that it just was marketed as something that it wasn't, and I just wanted it to be something it was not.
Yeah.
Ditto. Well said.
Yeah, that's a no from me too. Sorry those who voted that I would love it.
I have to say something controversial.
Yeah.
You guys mess with my head now. Now that an author has come and talked with us, now I feel bad saying anything negative about books because now I'm always scared that an author is going to hear it. So I don't know how to process this anymore.
Well,
I think you're pretty safe
yeah.
for this one.
I know, but what about other ones? Like, I'm so nervous now. Now I'm like, I don't know. What if I don't like a book and we talk to the author? Like, I feel so bad.
I know I'm really nervous for the next one. I'm like, please like it, please like it.
I know. Like, it's literally nothing personal. Every book has its audience.
Yeah.
I just hate the
No,
idea
but
of
you know
hurting
what? A
someone's
lot of
feelings.
but I think authors have pretty thick skins. Like they have to deal with a lot of rejection, and they know also that their books aren't targeted for everyone. So I feel like as long as you're fair about it and you're not just bashing the person because of how they look or like I don't know, as long as you're fair about it and you have a different sort of discussion when the author is there versus when they're not there.
Yeah,
you might be talking more just in general about like things you appreciated about the book or like the development of the characters as opposed to like being more critical as you do when the author isn't there.
Bridget, this is not Dark Academia.
Yeah,
you
this
need to get some really good stuff. It gets better.
Yeah.
So, Angela, are you kind of gonna just not say what you think?
Oh, I said dittoed exactly what you said. Like, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally agree. Like I told you, I straight up bought this book, and I don't normally because like Greek mythology, supposedly Dark Academia, like all this stuff. Like I was in, but that was not what it was really. So yeah.
All right, Stephanie.
No, I agree. I didn't hate it so much that I'm going to just chuck it or anything. Like, I feel like I give thrillers a little bit of leeway, but yeah, no, not top shelf.
Yeah. Laura.
I already said like I overall liked it. I haven't read much Dark Academia, so I didn't like have any expectations about that, but it definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I thought that the plot was a little like I just thought parts of it were not believable, but I thought it made up for it a little bit, and its characters and like the settings were interesting, and some of the premises were interesting as well. So, not a top shelf read, but it wasn't. I enjoyed reading it. I also didn't predict the twist, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
Reading a twist when you didn't see it coming, when it works for you. So that was something else that I appreciated. So yeah, it was just in like middle of the bookshelf kind of book. Middle of the road.
Like Yeah, so for me, it's not like a top shelf read. But like I said, there's a lot of elements that I liked in this book, and like, I think that it sort of has the potential to be like, maybe better suited for like film or something. So like I will be like, if there's a film that comes up like The Maidens, I want to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
And like I think that would be good. So yeah, I think that, you know, there were some things that I had, some issues I had. I think the million red herrings was like a big one for me. Like everyone, like you don't know who to believe, but at a certain point it was like, okay, like we get it. Like you want us to suspect everyone and every person possible that she ever interacts with.
They are making a silent
I
patient
also
film.
agree with Stephanie that her constantly. What's that? Oh, I think there's a little lag on my thing.
I just said they're making a film of the silent patient.
That's what she was. Oh yeah. No, I agree with Stephanie that it was annoying her constantly lying in order to get information, like constantly say, oh, the dean asked me to hold this therapy session, and never getting caught out for that, and like that was annoying as well. And that's the problem with when, you know, with some of the mystery stories is how is this character who's just like a layperson going to get the information to figure out the mystery. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we've ever been unanimous before. Well, we have been unanimously positive, like top shelf before. We've never been unanimously not top shelf.
What was unanimously yes a top shelf?
Wasn't it Black Girl Unlimited?
Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah.
Most people also liked House on Cerulean Sea, but I think Laura was not convinced. See, yeah,
that was my least favorite one.
Oh, I'm so excited for Under the Whispering Door or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's coming out next month, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Well, I know Laura needs to go.
I'm also excited. Oh yeah, and I keep trying. Yeah. I was gonna say one more thing. I was just gonna say I'm also excited for, like, I feel like a lot of the books that we're reading are getting their own series. Like Mexican Gothic's getting a series, isn't it? A Netflix series, maybe. I don't know. And then what's the one we just read? Firekeeper's Daughter's getting a series, I hear.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be fun when those come out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and end this final, the 15th meeting of the Top Shelf Society. Just a reminder that next month's book is The Chosen and the Beautiful, and we're going to be joined by the author, I think for the first 30 minutes at least, and then we'll have a regular discussion afterwards, I suppose. And that's going to be Friday, October the 1st. No.
A beautiful, beautiful,
So
Beautiful
pretty.
cover.
I've already read it.
Bye, Mary Jo. Thank you for chatting with us. And everybody.
Yep. Bye, everyone. And we will
Bridget.
see you in the next one. Oh, bye, Mary Jo. Sorry, they're just popping up for me. All right. Bye.
Bye, Bridget.